The following is the beginning of a two-part lecture series on why and how to start your own practice. We're going to cover a lot of ground, including how to start your own practice for as little as $10,000. Enjoy. I'm Dr. John Wehr, a 1976 graduate of the University of Michigan School of Dentistry. The plan on graduation was to open a practice with a classmate. In January of our senior year, we hired our first employee. In February, we took her with us to the Chicago Midwinter to order our equipment. In April, we signed a lease and construction papers, and as it happened, our licenses came through before the building was ready. So, we took what was now one employee each to nearby towns and started practices. A couple of months later, when the building was ready, we moved into the new office and effectively started a practice again. Now you can imagine we were concerned about cash flow, but I can tell you that in October, in one of the prouder moments of my life, when I picked up my dad in my new car and he asked me, "How did you pay for this?" I was able to respond, "I paid in cash." Now you might think that's unusual, but as it turns out, that was the norm when we graduated. 90% of our class went out and started a practice. Today that number is less than 5%. Now I'll admit, many things have changed in dentistry since 1976. What has not changed is that you possess the full skill set to run an office. All the owner brings you is patience, and we're going to show you how to take care of that. Now the story doesn't end there. After 8 years, my partner decided to part company, and one of us was going to leave the office. I chose to come back to Ann Arbor, which is kind of my hometown, and start over again. The success of my third start is in a town where there are, as you know, quite a few dentists, led me to give this talk to junior dental students at the U of M. It is the updated version of that on how and why to start a successful practice that I'm going to share with you today. So welcome, doctors and almost doctors. Today we are going to hopefully dispel a few myths and misconceptions that you were given in dental school and probably beyond. A recent dean of a dental school greeted the incoming freshmen with a talk that could be summarized as, "You will be here 4 years, 3 summers. You will invest probably over $250,000, and at the end of that time, you will not be ready to make a hole in a tooth and fill it. You should get a job." Now, if you invested all of that time and dollars to be an employee for your career, actually I can understand that. It is a viable plan. I have a relative who tried private practice. He's now happy as a government employee in a prison clinic, and I can tell you he has no problem with no-shows. If, however, you wish to give up the more than $1 million in lifetime earnings, then this talk is not for you, and I will not be upset if you slide out. I do recommend you hang in. There are some things I think you'll find of value. Okay, let's go over some of the benefits of owning your own practice. We're going to do it David Letterman style. Number 10, you will be able to practice where you want in the best current location there. Number 9, sooner rather than later, you will be practicing in an office designed for your comfort and efficiency. As it happens, I'm left-handed, and when I was in school, they had no reliable delivery system for a left-hander. In fact, they tended to discourage left-handers from becoming dentists. Number 8, your team is your team. Number 7, keep all of the hygiene revenue. Number 6, keep all of the net income that you produce. Number 5, your relationship with your patients will be all the sweeter because they are your patients. Number 4, practice as fits your skills, interests, schedule, comfort. In short, practice your way. Number 3, build wealth faster, and I will show you how. Number 2, handle your school debt easier, and I will show you how. And the number 1 reason to own your own practice, you can never be fired. A couple of years after I started this talk with the junior dental students, over a 6-month period, I received 3 phone calls from former attendees, now dentists, with wife, kids, house, cars, through no fault of their own. They had the same problem and the same question. I've just been fired. What should I do? Well, I think by this time you can imagine what my answer was, and I can tell you that at last word, they all 3 were enjoying financially and personally satisfying practices, and they never worried about being fired again. Now, before I go into the details of the financial and the success techniques of starting a practice, let's go over some of the reasons that you might think you can't own your own practice. And for that, I'm going to need a couple of volunteers because we're going to play Family Feud. If you are interested in the rest of the lecture series on why and how to start your own practice, and in at least one case for as little as $10,000, contact me at drjohnfirst100@gmail.com. That's drjohnfirst100, like the first 100 days of a presidency, @gmail.com.